Let's talk about a get home bag. Now many of you are saying, well, you got a go bag, you got a get home bag, you have a bob or bug out bag. Shouldn't this all be incorporated? A go bag is something that if I need to run out of the house, I just grab it and go. That really to me is more like a bug out bag. You need to go and there's a disaster, there's something going on, get away from the house quickly, and you need just certain items just to make sure your survival is ensured. So you want to make sure you grab a go bag or a bug out bag. But what we're going to talk about is something that you carry in your vehicle at all times, and it gets you home. Not necessarily your family, not necessarily somebody with you, but let's say that you're out somewhere, distance from home, and for whatever reason, your vehicle is incapacitated and you need to get home. You want to be as light as possible. You want to have just the items that you need just to survive. Nothing else, nothing extra, just survival. That's important. And that's what we're going to look at today. Something lightweight, something that if you need to, you can actually run with it. This is a lightweight, low profile, get home bag. The most important thing about a get home bag is the bag itself. And one of the things that you want to make sure you do is not get something really super cheap. Now this is a pretty high quality pack. I'm using the Osprey Manta 30. It's about their medium sized pack. This is an incredible pack. Now a get home bag should really be for 1 hour and up to 48 hours. Some way to get you home from an outside location. It could be just down the street. It could be many miles away. But this bag needs to be able to be sturdy, the zippers need to be good, it needs to be something that will not come apart. Listen, if your bag tears up, you're in big trouble. The other thing that you need is you need a good pair of sturdy shoes, walking shoes, boots, something that you can get through debris, that you can protect your ankles, and really important to have something. You know, you could be in flip-flops. I love wearing flip-flops. I wear them all the time. I wear Crocs a lot. Great to have a good pair of boots if I need it. Now, of course, with your get home bag, you should already be carrying some sort of knife. You should definitely be carrying possibly a flashlight. If you're like me, I carry a flashlight with me all the time. Of course, your phone, set of keys. Keys can also double for extras. I have a whistle on my key ring. I have a small little Swiss Army knife. We'll have a little small light even on my keys. This is part of my survival package. And then, of course, having personal protection is very important. And typically I carry this in my car as well or on me as a CCW. So you're going to want to make sure that you have some kind of personal protection at hand. Those things you should already have regardless of your go bag, regardless of your boots. Every day. This is my EDC. It's what I carry with me. But now we're going to start looking at different sections of the bag. And I'm going to break it up into 3 different areas. We're going to look at 3 different conditions. We're going to look at yellow, we're going to look at orange, and we're going to look at red. Similar to the video that I just did on the combat triad, this is your survival triad. Now we're going to look at condition yellow, which really means you're about 1 to 3 hours away from your house. We're going to look at code orange, which means you're 3 to 12 hours from your house. And then we're going to look at code red. And that means that you are over 12 hours, up to 48 hours from your house. And what I try to do is put all my condition yellow items up front. Those are the things that I'll need throughout the journey. First thing I want to do is I put it right on the outside of my pack. I can get to where I'm going. I want to open up. I want to get started. These are things that I need to pull out of my pack. First thing I'm going to do is pull out a pair of sunglasses. Now these are not only going to protect me from the sunlight, but these are protective lenses. So in case there's any kind of debris, in case there's any problem, things being blown around, I'll have these to protect my eyes. Now I also have a bandana, and what that does is it protects my neck and can stay around my neck. But if I get into an area of heavy dust or some kind of debris, I can use this around my face to protect my face. We want to have a good hat to be able to protect you from the sun. You know, especially with this 100-degree weather we've been having, you can really have a sunstroke in a matter of just a couple of hours. So you really need to have something to protect yourself from the sun. And of course, being in adverse conditions, you want to have something also to protect you from the elements. A good poncho is excellent. It could rain at any time. So having something to cover you up with to be able to protect you from the rain is important. Now this can be used also as a shelter, but that'll really come later. You can substitute the poncho for a good heavy meal trash bag that can be used to cover you, to cover your gear, and to be able to protect you from the elements. Or again, this will also double as a shelter between the poncho on top, and then you can put this bag on the ground to keep you dry. Now, of course, for my EDC, I'm already carrying a flashlight and a knife. That's really important in Code Yellow. These are two items that you should already be carrying on your person. But I also have a redundancy in the bag. So I have a flashlight and a knife also in the bag. This bag around the waistband has little pouches. And in that pouch, I carry a small first aid kit. But this little EDC kit has everything I need to be able to maintain myself for a couple of days. And then a little sunscreen and some bug spray. Really, this is not the end of the world necessary, but it sure does make things a lot better, and this goes along with my first aid kit. And that's really all that I need for my Code Yellow. So here again, these are my Code Yellow items all laid out. My EDC, plus just the things that will get me home from 1 to 3 hours. Now, let's say that this is Code Orange. This means we're going from 3 to 12 hours. We're going to need some extra things. So one of the first things you're going to need to consider is water. Listen, for 3 hours, I'm fine without water. I can make it. But when you start getting on into it, you need to keep your body hydrated. This little Berkey Sport bottle with the filter, I can filter this up with water from a spigot, no problem. But if I need to get to some water that's questionable, I can still drink out of this and be able to use it. Plus, have the water here. There is a bladder in my backpack. I don't necessarily keep that filled at all times. I can fill the bladder up using just the bottle and then carry this with water in it. So I will have a water supply. But what I really like is having just this 4 ounces of emergency drinking water. I can carry this with me. It's sealed. It's not going to leak. And I can just have that in case I just need some water. I can drink it. And then if I get into a more serious situation, I have this as a backup. Around the waist of my pack, I do keep a map. And you know, there may be a place where I have to go around. I'm not going straight home, or my GPS isn't working and I need something to be able to get me home. This map will help me to be able to find my way. And not only the map, but I also have a compass, because even reading a map, I can get sidetracked, I can have to go around something, I can have to detour, and I need to have a compass to be able to tell me which direction I'm going in. Having a good multi-tool, very important. You know, I may be able to get by for 3 hours or so, but after the time elapses, my chances of needing some tools are going to be more and more. So having a good multi-tool really helps. Of course, within a 12-hour period, toilet paper is invaluable. But inside this toilet paper roll, I have some dryer lint stuffed down in here. And this is great tinder for fire making. I can separate the toilet paper if I need to and be able to use this, and it's one compact piece. Of course, I have a lighter to be able to go with, of course, the fire tinder, but I also have this Light My Fire little knife, survival knife. And not only is this great to have a knife, which is another thing on the list that you're going to need, but it also gives you a fire steel inside. That gives me a little bit of a redundancy. I'll tell you one thing about redundancy. If you have one, it means you have none. If you have two, you have one. So the things that are super important, such as a knife, a flashlight, those kind of things, you definitely need at least two in your pack. Now I also like to have some cash put away. If I can't get to an ATM, if I don't have, my credit cards aren't working, if it's an EMP, you definitely may have some problems. If the electricity is out, cash would be really great to have and be able to take care of some things if you need to. In here I have about 50 bucks, and then I have some smaller bills inside. So I have a 20, a couple of 10s, and then some 1s. That way I can make change if I need to, or I don't lose too much. Of course, I do have this in one of the lock sacks to keep this completely water-free. And I've also got some moleskin in here in case I'm starting to have trouble with my feet. This can be very valuable if you're starting to have blisters on your feet and cover it with moleskin. Of course, having extra batteries. I've got some CR123s, and I've also got a AA that goes in one of my flashlights. And then having a length of paracord can help set up my shelter if I need it. The paracord is invaluable. There's a lot of different uses you can use with having cordage. Also having a good radio, something that you can pick up emergency channels, something that you can pick up even the weather, knowing what's going on around. This is a little Woshin handheld ham radio with emergency channels. One of the things about ham is you have to have a license to use it unless there's an emergency situation. And if you're in an emergency, you can use any channel to get help. And listening to ham, there's no problem. You don't need a license to be able to listen to ham to know what's going on. Now, one of the things you can substitute, maybe a ham radio or something like that, is just a little small transistor radio or an emergency radio. As long as you can pick up local stations and at least know what's going on, that is really big. And cell phones may or may not be around. So for Code Orange, we've got our water, we've got our knife, we've got all of these things right here, and that's for 3 to 12 hours. Now we're going to go to Code Red, and Code Red really means you're really in a dire situation, and there are some things that you're going to need to kind of supplement what you have here. First thing is having some real shelter. This little escape bivvy from SOL. This will keep your body warm down to 50 degrees. In fact, I have a full review on this on my Sensible Prepper channel. This also acts as a sleeping bag. You can crawl down in it, zip it up, and it'll keep your body warm down to 50 degrees. So an incredible lightweight option instead of a full sleeping bag. An extra pair of socks is vital. If your feet get wet, you're going to need a good pair of socks. Now, these are Keen, these are excellent wool socks, and these will keep your feet dry even if wet. That way you can hang these out to dry and put on some good fresh socks and keep your feet in top shape. Gloves may actually come in beforehand, but having a good pair of gloves can be important, especially if you're having to move debris or you're having to get around something. Gloves are great to save your hands. Now, some people would put food higher on the list, but to be honest with you, you don't need food. You can go 3 weeks without food. But to keep your energy up, it's great to have some food, especially if you're in trouble for a day or so. A little Cliff Bar was great to keep your energy up. These are the SOS food bars. This is Life Raft food. This is a 3-day supply of food. So if it's an extended period of time, I can last for 3 days rather than just 1 day with a little food like this. Of course, having an extra magazine with plenty of ammo is great to have in an extended period, especially. Having another knife and another flashlight, great redundancy. Now, having a Write in the Rain pad and a good space pen, this is an excellent, no matter what the weather, you'll be able to write down something if you need to. Maybe you need to write down a license plate number. Maybe you need to write down some information. You can do it right here. This is really important to have, and it's very lightweight. And then one last thing that I think is super important is I have a little New Testament in mind just to keep this close, because in a tough situation, you're going to need some inspiration. So here are Code Red items, all in one spot. Now, whether you're in condition yellow, condition orange, or you're in full-blown condition red, much of this gear will serve you all through that time and get you home safe. Now again, while I'm repacking this, I just want to bring out the point that your Code Red items really need to be at the bottom, and then come up with your Code Orange, and then with condition yellow you can put it around the outside. That way you can get to the things you need to, you know where they are, and that way you have a system. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Seriously, leave my truck? It's gonna have to be SHTF for me to leave my truck, I can tell you that.